gonna put your
I'm
name.
ready.
You're gonna be Chicago Bear, all right?
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, here's
Let's
Coach
go. Let's do
Eberflus.
it. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready, man. Let's do it.
At Florida, my junior year was more of just like two gapping and kind of reacting. So like basically, if the guard steps down, you step down with him. If he step out, you step out with him. And then here is more of just go, get vertical, penetrate, and reset the line of scrimmage. So.
What's up, guys? Swift here. Today we're talking about potentially a quarterback's worst nightmare. I'm talking about our second round pick, Gervon Dexter. Could he be better than Jalen Carter? His upside is there. Gervon has the potential to be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. I watched every snap from Dexter's college career and am ready to give my full breakdown. This video includes a full scouting report, strengths, weaknesses, all 22 tape breakdown, how he fits with the Bears, his story, background, and as much extra info as I can find. Let's get right into it. First, a bit of his background. Gervon started playing football at just 5 years old. In high school, he switched to basketball full-time and was the starting center on the varsity travel basketball team for both his freshman and sophomore seasons. He started to get a little bit too big for basketball, and his dad talked him into going back to football. In his return season as a junior in high school, he had 9 sacks and 7 forced fumbles. Then he was an absolute monster as a senior, finishing the season with over 100 tackles, an insane 35 tackles for loss, 18 sacks, and 7 forced fumbles. He ended up being the top-ranked defensive tackle in the entire nation after only returning to football for 2 seasons, an incredible ascent. He could have joined any school in the nation, but he chose to stay home and go to Florida, while also getting a chance to face top-end competition in the SEC. As a freshman, he only played in 254 snaps, but his upside was evident, and you could see his burst off the line. As a sophomore, he was a starter and a team leader. He played the run very well, piling up 33 tackles while also getting 24 pressures and 4 sacks, showcasing his upside as a pass rusher. As a junior last year, he played most of Florida's snaps, 636 total on the year. He added another 33 tackles while playing more of a read and react role and getting double teamed constantly. He still amassed 24 QB pressures and 2 sacks, a strong finish to his career, but like a lot of interior linemen, his production never lived up to the hype in college. Dexter then measured in at 6'6", 310 pounds with an 81-inch wingspan at the combine. He ran a 4.88 40 and is incredibly athletic for his size. He looked awesome at the combine and tested off the charts. He was also named to Bruce Feldman's Freaks list. The best thing about Gervon, though, is his upside. His best football is still ahead of him. The Bears believe in their coaching staff and put a ton of work into player development, something our front office hasn't been as big on in the past, and we also haven't got to see it pay off yet. Developing players takes time, and these new coaches have only been on the job for just over 1 season. Some of that should show up on the field as early as this season, but it's something that will continue every year. That's what building a foundation is all about. I believe we finally have the front office and coaching staff in place to be long-term contenders. Gervon checks all of the boxes for a defensive tackle prospect. He can play anywhere on the defensive line. He was a higher-ranked recruit than Jalen Carter or any other defensive tackle coming out of high school. Ryan Poles said it himself about Dexter's upside. He is an incredible athlete and has the traits to be one of the best interior defensive linemen in the entire league if he can reach his full potential. That's the only thing with Gervon. Can he reach his ceiling? I believe the coaching staff will help him get there. However, his production at Florida is nothing to shake a stick at. Dexter's been criticized for his production by the same people who wanted us to draft Jalen Carter, yet he had a lot more production than Jalen Carter did. He had 125 career tackles, which is insane production from an interior defensive lineman, especially considering how raw he is and that he switched over from playing basketball. He also added 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, a few pass deflections, and a couple fumble recoveries as well, all in just 3 years and only 2 years as a starter. He played in 33 straight games and was extremely durable as well. Unlike Jalen Carter and Brian Brzee, who were surrounded by fellow NFL draft prospects all over their defensive line, Dexter didn't have that luxury. He came out of high school higher ranked than Carter or Brzee and outproduced both of them, yet somehow they both went in the first round and Gervon fell to Chicago at pick number 54. What happened here? In my opinion, it was the defensive line talent surrounding Carter and Brzee and the success that the defensive lines had as a whole. While Jalen Carter's production pales in comparisons with Gervon's, his defensive line was the best in the nation and led Georgia to a national championship. Meanwhile, Gervon was on a squad with Anthony Richardson that finished 6-7 on the year and lost their last 3 games. Imagine if Gervon Dexter had been on Georgia. He is more of a freak athlete than Carter and outproduced him on a less talented defensive line. If he put up that kind of production at Georgia, I believe he would have been a top 10 pick easily. He has 0 character concerns and fits the Hits philosophy to a T. He chose to stay close to home and go to Florida. It was a decision that allowed him to fall to the Chicago Bears in round 2 of the NFL draft. One last point about his production is that Dexter was often able to affect plays without showing up in the stat sheet. I will show you that in the film room in just a moment. However, in true Ryan Poles fashion, he found another freak athlete. Gervon made Bruce Feldman's freaks list. He squats 655 pounds and benches 425 pounds. On top of that, he has a relative athletic score of 9.53. A quote directly from Bruce Feldman, Gervon is a unique body type with an elite mixture of height, length, and muscle makeup. He's strong enough to the point and quick enough to affect the quarterback, making him an every down quarterback nightmare. Basically, he's an agile run stuffer who can play the nose, but he also has rare burst and power to be a prototypical 3-tech in a 4-3 defense as well. Speaking of fit, you guys should have heard about Ryan Poles' critical factors for each position by now. So how does Dexter fit those? Poles values point of attack power first and foremost, which is Gervon's biggest strength if you ask me. He also values punch and block shedding ability, block recognition, and balance. All areas of Gervon's game that he excels in. Once again, we'd see just how great of a fit he is for Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus and this defense. But let's go deeper in the scouting report and let's check out his strengths and weaknesses before we go into the film room. Gervon has incredible athleticism, scoring a 9.53 on the relative athletic score, as well as scoring a 116.8 on the pure athleticism score, the second highest of any defensive lineman in the entire draft. He is an athletic freak. That's why he also made Bruce Feldman's freaks list. He has insane burst for a man his size and is incredibly agile and able to shed blocks with ease. He has the perfect frame to play defensive tackle in the NFL, and he can easily add more muscle and bulk and become even more powerful at the next level. His power and raw strength might be my favorite aspect of his entire game. He routinely took on double and even triple teams and has an incredible anchor in the run game where he can hold his ground even when double teamed. Gervon has very high IQ and is able to read and diagnose plays while using his leverage to then put himself in position to make plays. His block shedding ability is incredible. He combines his quick footwork, power, agility, and use of leverage to shed blocks with as much ease as anyone I've seen on tape. He's a massive run stuffer who has to be double teamed in the run game. He's good enough to make plays even when he's double teamed. He's a high motor player who will fit the hits principle, and he was a team leader. Dexter is a perfect fit in a 4-3 attacking style defense like Matt Eberflus's. He could play the 3-tech or the nose, and I believe was handpicked by Eberflus to come in and upgrade this defensive line. Now let's talk about his weaknesses. He plays with his pad level too high at times. I don't question his burst off the line. You can see his burst in the 2020 and 2021 tape. I'll show that off more in the All-22. But his anticipation of the snap count can cause him to get off the line late at times. It's impossible to know if this was due to coaching or not, but his job was not to burst off the line. It was to read the guard or center, react to what they do, and then shed the block and make a play. Gervon needs to develop better technique when pass rushing and add some pass rushing moves to his game. He relies too much on power, burst, and shedding offensive linemen than just beating them with pure pass rush moves, which actually may fit perfectly next to Zach Pickens if everything works like Poles envisions, but Dexter does need to develop some more pass rushing moves to add to his repertoire. You also wish he had more production behind the line of scrimmage, but he's just dripping with pass rush potential and upside. That's the thing about Gervon. His upside is so tantalizing. He has the upside to be one of the best interior linemen in the entire NFL, but he has some development to do before he realizes that potential. He's yet to reach his ceiling, but his best football is still ahead of him. I think he fits this defense perfectly, and he could be Matt Eberflus's hand-picked 3-tech, or he could line up next to Pickens and play the nose, in which case you have an exciting, dynamic duo on the interior of this defensive line. But enough talk, let's get into the film room and break down Gervon Dexter. The first thing I want to show on film of Gervon Dexter is what he was asked to do at Florida. He was not asked to burst off the line and get into the backfield and disrupt. That's not what he was asked to do. He was asked to anchor, read the backfield, find the ball carrier, and then react, shed the block, and make a play. And that's exactly what he did. And it caused scouts to question whether or not he could get off the line when he clearly showed in 2020 and 2021 that he was capable of bursting off the line. We're going to watch here. He gets off the line. He's not bursting upfield. He gets the contact. He anchors right here. And then watch. What did he just do there? Let's see. Watch his head right here. He acts like he's going to the left. Then watch, he's going to get onto the right side of the shoulder. And then he's going to peek into the backfield and locate the ball carrier. Peek happens so quick here. Right here, he peeks. He finds the ball. And then watch him. Right here, you're going to see him shove this guy off. That's his block shedding ability. Shoves him, gets off the block, makes the play. This is just what you see on tape from Gervon all the time. He's right here on the field. Watch similar play here. He's going to anchor, he's going to look into the backfield, and then he's going to react and make a play. Watch, let's go back. Let's watch that unfold. Gets off the line. Not like this guy, he's not bursting up. He's waiting here and he's going to anchor. Anchors, he grabs a hold of him and then watch his head. Peeking into the backfield. He locates the ball carrier and then he's going to use his length and power. Shed this block. And make a play. Here he is again. We're going to see the same thing. Look at this incredible anchor strength here. His pad level a little too high. It's the only negative thing you see there, but he doesn't move. Watch his feet. They're planted. He does not move. He actually gets a little bit closer there and then is able to get off the block and make a play. Here he is against Alabama, one of the better offensive lines in the league. Look at him get off the line a little bit quicker here. You see him get off quick. Got him engaged, get under the pads, good hand placement there. Again, look at his eyes. In the backfield, locates the ball carrier, and he's going to shed this block and make a play. If you'll notice, he's on this side of the offensive lineman. He's got him walled off. This is where the offensive line wants him. This is where Dexter's power comes in. He gets to the other side and then sheds the block. It's kind of crazy. He's a man amongst boys out here. He's like, oh, running back's going that way. I'm going to get off this. I'm going to get right in the way. I don't care how big and strong you are. I'm just as big and powerful and athletic. Same thing here in a game against Kentucky. Watch him. This is him right here. Watch how he just stonewalls the offensive lineman, finds out where the ball carrier is, and then makes a play. Watch in here. Look at his hand placement. Good job with his hands. Good pad level this time. This is when he plays with his pad level not high. He's dominant. Gets in there. There's just no move in this anchor. Something he has in common with Darnell Wright. I'd like to see these two go head to head, anchor versus anchor in a bull rush. Man, that'd be powerful. Look at how he just rips off here violently and then locates the running back and makes a play. Rip. Boom. Get to see a little bit more of how he gets off the line on this one. Watch him here. He's going to get off the line of scrimmage a little bit faster, and no center can block this guy one-on-one. Whether it's in the run game or the pass game, you can't block him one-on-one, period. That's what they try to do here. They try to block him one-on-one. That's a big guard from Alabama who can block probably 90% of defensive linemen in the league, maybe 95%. But Gervon Dexter sheds him, throws him to the side, and again, all over the running back. No gain. Watch how he kind of shuffles his feet off the line. You'll see here he's not, even though he has the get off of the line, he has the get off. You see the jump there. But then instead of bursting and trying to get in the backfield, watch how he kind of shuffles his feet here. Shuffle, shuffle. Because he's not, that's what he's coached to do. He's supposed to read and react here. He's not just trying to wreak havoc. He's trying to see where the play is going. And once he locates it here and he sees where the play is, that's when he sheds the offensive lineman and makes a play. That's awareness and that's IQ. And then having the power and agility to throw off a 300, and that looks like a 320-pound lineman right there. Throws him to the side. The next point I want to talk about is how often Dexter is double teamed. All the time. He's going against two offensive linemen. Let's watch here. This play is actually kind of insane. These guys don't know what to do. The center tries to cut block Dexter. He kind of just throws him to the ground. Then the other guy tries to pile into his shoulder here. Dexter takes that hit and the cut block and is athletic enough to just kind of absorb all that and then immediately bounce off, have the agility. Look at that footwork there. Look how he just kind of floats to the outside and matches the quarterback. This is the quarterback here. This is Dexter. The whole time he's taken on this double team, he's watching the quarterback. He's going to read and react to what the quarterback does while taking two cut blocks. Gets off of it. 1, 2. Gets off right there. And then look at how he squares up on the quarterback. Hendon Hooker, he's trying to get to the outside. He tries to cut back in. He's square here. He's got a nice base. There's nowhere for Hendon Hooker to go. Good job. Let's watch a double team against Alabama here as well. This is Dexter over here on the right side. He's going to have two guys on him again. Let's watch. Look at this. Now, he's not the guy that makes the play initially. There's already someone back there making the play, but watch this. He gets a huge right tackle smashing him from the side. Right guard, square up. Look at this. Look at this anchor. He anchors here, shuffles and re-anchors. is able to have this guy kind of just fall off, and he's going to shed this tackle, and just like that, he's through a double team. This is almost magical. Let's watch it again. Watch the footwork. You got to watch his feet here. Shuffle, slide, anchor. How he re-anchors here when he gets to the outside. He's going to get that guy off him, use his leverage. He kind of turns his shoulder, gets his shoulder inside here so this guy can't get a piece of it. After he turns his shoulder, kind of pulls this guy with him and then uses that guy's momentum to force him out of the way this way. This guy falls off the back. He's right through into the backfield. Then watch how he attacks the running back patiently here. He waits. He grabs, he reaches in there for where the ball is, secures it, makes sure he's on the ground. Let's watch this again. This is just kind of magic. That's Alabama. This isn't against an FCS team or a team. This is against Alabama. My favorite thing about his game is how he uses leverage. You'll see his hand placement on this center right here. Like, he has this guy locked up. So this guy comes over for a double team, thinks he can just hit him a little bit. But Gervon's contact, balance, and agility, this guy doesn't even affect him. Watch this. What just happened? This guy comes up, thinks he's clearing him out, comes up, hits him. Dexter doesn't even feel it. Like, he doesn't even move. He's still shedding this guy and using his leverage to get in the backfield. This guy didn't even affect him, and he's just moving on to the second level. No effect on Gervon at all. It's going to be another play against Alabama here. Watch the double team. Trying to drive him off the ball, right? Look at this anchor. He's got two guys trying to push him off the ball. Not only does it not succeed, look at this. This is incredible. Watch the anchor here. He has to reshuffle, of course. When you get hit with a double team, you're going to have to reshuffle and then anchor again. He does that. His footwork is good. Watch him. Anchor. Not only does he anchor here. Look at this is with 1 foot anchor against the double team. Kind of one shuffle step is all he took here. Watch this. Anchor right here. Absolute just, this is squatting 700 pounds right here. Like, and bench pressing 500. This is what he's able to do. You see it here. Look at him. Anchor. He's going to throw this guy off. This is another double team, and he just makes it look easy. Now, this is what happens a lot, though, in college. He's not able to finish the play, and this is why his production isn't exactly where you'd want it to be. But this is amazing. If anyone else would make a play on this Florida defense here, like, this guy's over pursuing, this guy's getting stonewalled, this guy's getting stonewalled, and Dexter's fighting through a double team and in the backfield here and just short of making a play. Meanwhile, both of these guys kind of just standing here. Come on, guys. This is just, I got to watch it one more time here. Just look at the shuffle, anchor. Ugh. In the NFL, when you do stuff like this, someone else around you is going to make a big play. One thing I'm talking about with Gervon Dexter here, he's in the SEC, but he's not on Georgia. He doesn't have the defensive line around him. You can see it on plays like this when the offensive line, they triple team him because the double team hasn't worked. They've tried to double team him, and it still doesn't work because he can split through it. So they bring a triple team at him. They completely ignore this other edge rusher. Watch this. This is 3 guys. 3/5 of your offensive line are blocking Gervon Dexter. This guy's free, this guy's free, and you got one-on-ones on the left side. And let's watch Dexter. How much movement do they get on him with the triple team? So see what yard marker we're at here, right? We're at the 3rd yard marker. It's about the 47-yard line. This is Dexter here. He actually gets a little bit of push, half a yard forward against a triple team. Then they kind of push him back just a little bit. They get him about a yard. 1 yard. 3 guys. His strength is insane. But what is Matt Eberflus going to love about this guy? Let's check out the hits principle. Watch this play with Dexter here. Again, he's double teamed. Play coming to his side. Bouncing to the outside. A lot of defensive linemen are just going to kind of lazily jog over here. Watch Dexter attack this. Make the play. Diving in there. This is how he plays defense all the time. His eyes are in the backfield, and he's able to just throw offensive linemen off him. Look at it. Watch his eyes in the backfield the whole time. He's seeing where this ball goes. He watches it go to the running back. He recognizes the running back has the ball. He's going to use his leverage, power, and athleticism to then just throw this offensive lineman off. He just does it so routinely. He uses momentum and leverage. Yeah. And then make a play. This one's really going to showcase his hits philosophy, though. I mean, this is Gervon Dexter here. He's going to be breaking out, running to the sideline here, chasing a quarterback. A lot of defensive tackles you don't see do this. Look at my man. Let's watch this. Look at the hustle. This is hits philosophy, hits principle 101 right here. Running. Some people said my man's is slow. No. Look at Dexter flying. He actually runs into his own teammate here. He gets tackled by his own teammate, but that's a hits principle 101 right there, just trucking across the field. That's 6'6", 300 pounds, chucking. His motor really just doesn't stop. Look at this play here. Again, double team off the line of scrimmage. Again, look at his feet. Look at him anchor, shuffle, anchor. And then he's going to shed the block and run to the ball. This guy's already tackled. He's already going down. Dexter is running to the ball always. Look at that. Gets there in time to help bring the guy down. Eberflus is going to love this dude. I want to showcase one more thing about him in the run game, is just how he's able to use leverage. And this is how he played this year. This is the read and react. Watch, the ball is snapped. He anchors up here. He's not trying to get upfield. This is anchor, watch the ball, and then react to the play. Read. Look at him use the leverage. Look at the hand placement here. He's under this guy's pads. He has him where he wants him. This guy thinks he's blocking Gervon, but he's not. He's just anchored up and waiting to make a play. And when the time comes right, he's going to shed the block and be there to make a play. But what haven't we talked about yet? Gervon Dexter is a pass rusher. His run defense is insane. He's going to immediately improve our run defense on our defensive line and make us a better team overall against the run. But what makes Gervon special is his upside as a pass rusher too. Not only can he be one of the best interior run defenders in the league, but he has the upside of a 7 to 10 sack a year guy. Now he's nowhere near that upside yet, but he has that potential. With Gervon Dexter, seriously, the sky is the limit. Let's break down his pass rushing skills. Here you're going to get to see his burst off the line. This is one of the few plays where you really see him get off the line and get into the backfield. They're saying he can't burst off the line. And this is another thing. No center in the entire nation can block this guy one-on-one. So even in pass rush, he's going to require double teams or he's going to be in the backfield. He just absolutely destroys this center. And this is another thing I like about his game. Watch the power. I mean, look at this bull rush. That guy's not there. This guy's trying to get over for a double team. Look how athletic he is. This is a 6'6", 300-pound guy. And you like this ability too. When they're pass rushing, the ability to get skinny, that's a kind of turning your body sideways and getting upfield. Zach Pickens is really good about that. You'll see that a lot when I get to his all-22. But watch Dexter right here. Gets skinny, gets through the hole, and he's in the quarterback's face. Oh, just not there. He doesn't get anything for this. It's not in the stat box. The one thing you will see that's a little bit of a negative on here, Gervon got called for a little bit too many late hits. Kind of a tendency here. He gets the quarterback a little bit late. He can't resist it. He has to shove Bryce Young to the ground. And Bryce Young is really little, though. He's like, man, I just barely pushed him. But let's watch again how he gets upfield, sheds the center, affects the throw. Just don't hit the quarterback late. Next play, we're going to have Dexter again, one-on-one with the center. They can't stop him. Listen, we saw this a lot with Mustapher last year. This happened to us. It's the pocket collapsing right in front of you. Pocket collapsing, pressure in the guy's face. You got to get rid of the ball. Nothing on the stat sheet here, but this is pressure up the middle. Both defensive tackles there closing right in. Pushing his guy back. Affecting the throw. Incomplete pass here. Could have been intercepted if the safety was ready. Watch Dexter here. That again, nothing in the stat sheet here. This doesn't go in the stat sheet, but this is what you want from your interior defensive lineman. One-on-one against the center. He's going to use his bull rush. You want to see him. This is kind of one of the things I said in his strengths and weaknesses here. He relies too much on his power and athleticism as a pass rusher sometimes. Once he's able to learn some more advanced pass rushing moves, he's going to be able to take his game to another level. But right now, he just depends a lot on this. He knows he can bull rush this guy. And he gets there and could have affected this throw. He's in the quarterback's face. You don't have any more time to wait. Bryce Young found an open receiver in the slot. Dexter again. I've said it many a times, but centers cannot block him one-on-one. Just absolute too much power. You see it in his base here. I mean, this is a guy who squats almost 700 pounds. The arm length, the power in his arms, is violent with his hands. Look at this. He just bullying this center. When he hits this center with his punch, look at how the center pops back. Running back, watch the running back here. He sees it. He's trying to go that way. He sees this guy getting pushed back, and he's like, oh, no. Watch this running back. He's trying to run a pass route here. And I think his plan was to cut through these guys. But right here, he's like, what do I do? This is collapsing. And then he kind of just shuffles and hesitates and goes around. But by this point, it's too late. The guys are there. Look at Dexter. Look at Gervon. This is the hits principle, too. Look at how after he shoves this center back, all the way back, he's then able to just shove him. Look at the separation he gets here from this block shed. He shoves him. The guy ends up facing the other way and falling down. Look at this. Makes him trip over his own feet. Throws him. He trips over his own feet. He's on the ground. Look at Dexter. Look at this. How he mirrors the quarterback's movements here. Know where you can go. You can go the outside. And then when he tries to spin, gotcha. Doesn't stop. Slams him on the ground. Whew. Got to be careful with that in the NFL, but he likes punishing quarterbacks. Ooh. Going to see the exact same thing here again. You can't block him one-on-one with the center. Look at how he just, his impact and punch. The center is always like thrown off balance by it. You see him, he's flailing his arms here. He's like, oh my goodness. He's just getting drove back, almost tackles the running back here again. And then when he gets to where he wants, you see him as he's driving him back here. He's also eyes on the quarterback. He's reading the backfield. He uses leverage here. He acts like he's going this way, and then he's going to stick his foot in the dirt, use his leverage because the guy's trying to block him this way, throw the guy that way, and he's going to be free to make a run at the quarterback again. Look at how he just gets free like that. Every time when he wants to shed a block, look, shoves him off. Look at how it affects the guy. Like, how do you defend that? And then again, he's all over the quarterback. He affects the throw. He's in his face. He's taking him to the ground. But he doesn't get anything in the stat sheet for this. His bull rush is insane. I just want to show his bull rush. Just, oh my, like, that's just power. Gonna see him again against Alabama here. I love this play. This is one here again. He's double teamed, but watch him. He's got his eyes in the backfield. He realizes it's a play action pass. And this is when he is going to push upfield a little bit. And again, he's able to split double teams at will. Got here, watch him. So he uses this guy's leverage against him here. This guy's trying to push him this way. He's going to use that guy's leverage, shrug him off, and then do, it's kind of a slow spin move, but it's effective. The spin here, it's not, he doesn't spin just to spin. What the spin does is it forces this guy off him and uses his leverage against him. Since he's going this way, kind of throws him to the ground. And then this guy doesn't know what to do. Okay, well, I can't stop him. I'm just going to be Sam Mustipher and block air. Yep. I mean, what are you doing there, buddy? You just saw Dexter go by. Look. Nope, I'm just going to... Yep. Again, nothing on the stat sheet here, but he throws an offensive lineman to the ground, gets through a double team, and he's by himself chasing Bryce Young in the backfield. There's no other help on the defensive line here. This guy's 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. This guy's a yard behind the line of scrimmage. This guy over here is getting neutralized. There's just nothing there except what he's doing. Let's see some more bull rush, though. Again, look at him. Snap anticipation. He's right there. He's not slow off the jump, but look at the bull rush. Again, nothing in the stat sheet here, but look at how he, anytime you put a center on him one-on-one, it's dangerous for the quarterback. Oh, you want to see him get his hand up right here. He does affect the pass. Watch here. It's one of the few times where you see him in a stance where he's actually ready to get off the line. See his heel up here? He's ready to sprint here. Watch how he attacks off the line of scrimmage here. This is one of the few times you see him try to get upfield. This is not a play where he's holding anchor. He's trying to get upfield, and you see it right here. Look at the burst. Nothing on the stat sheet. But if you tell me this quarterback doesn't know he's coming, he affects this guy's throw. Ooh. This is Gervon on this play here. Watch him, again, anchor. Realizes what the play is. Look at it. He's got the anchor, but he's getting some push. He's going to see the ball in the quarterback's hand. He sees the quarterback try to step up. Watch him, again, at will. He's able to shed blocks. So what he does, when he wants to shed a block, his arm length and power. Get off me. Violent hands, rips him down. This guy can't hold on to him. He's like, what do I do? How do I stop this? Likes to put his full body weight on the quarterback when he brings him down. I just want to showcase this one part on this next play because he does put his hands up and affect throwing lanes a lot as well. As you'll see here, he's so close to tipping the ball, and he does this a lot, and it's what you like with his long arms. He didn't do it as much as I wanted, but I believe it's something that Eberflus is going to have him doing all the time, and he's going to bat down a lot of balls. It's something our coaching staff loves. DeMarcus Walker, Dominique Robinson, they have those long arms. So does Zach Pickens. So does Tremaine Edmonds. There's going to be a lot of balls deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it's something that Gervon Dexter also brings to the table. This is what he was asked to do at Florida. Read and react. Watch him off the line here. He's going to engage. And he's reading the backfield. What are you doing, Bryce Young? Look at his power, though. Look at how far he pushes this offensive lineman back. They start at the 27-yard line. He pushes them all the way back to the 22, 5 yards into the backfield. And then he's shedding the block to make a play. But his teammate, Brenton Cox, gets the sack there. Nothing on the box score for this, but oh, close. Close to getting the half a sack, close to getting a full sack. He affects the game and he helps his teammates out. I'm going to see Gervon again here, one-on-one with the center. You can't block him with a center one-on-one. Look what he does to these guys constantly. He makes them look silly, throws off their balance, kills their anchor, uses violent shoves. Look at this. Again with the shove. When he wants to shed, his grip strength and power are insane. Shoves him not once here. Look. Not once. He said, oh, that didn't get the job done. Let me do it again. Twice. This one pushes him 3 yards. Almost 5 yards if you count the little shuffle step there. Look at that. Oh my goodness. And if you don't think this affects the throw, quarterback's like, all right, I got a second. No, I don't. No, I don't. Oh my. Hendon Hooker, you thought you had a little bit of time there, but you didn't. The first shove didn't get the job done, but the second one did. That is just... that's grown man strength right here, guys. And this is what he looked like. Even in the SEC, a lot of times he looked like a man playing amongst boys. This guy has the potential to just absolutely punish quarterbacks. I want to showcase his anchor one more time. This play, it's kind of hard to see in full time, but when you slow it down, this is Dexter here. Just watch him. You'll notice the pile is moving and it just comes to a stop. I'm going to show you why. Watch right here. I mean, you see the pad level he has. He's good hand placement. He's on the outside shoulder. He's under this guy's pads. He's controlling him. Him uses his long arms to get the separation and shed here. But then watch him anchor. Right there. This. What? Look at the pile moving. And watch Dexter's back foot. Watch it stop the pile here. When it plants, the pile stops. Look at it. Pile's moving. Pile's moving. Pile's moving. Look at Dexter plant here and just stop it. It's done. When he gets his foot in here and anchors, the pile stops. That is just insane power. Watch. There's 3 linemen there trying to push him. Stops the whole play. It's absolutely insane. Another reason why having his eyes in the backfield always is such a good idea. You see on this one, he's watching the quarterback. So when the ball gets tipped, look at him. Interception. This is awareness. Most defenders, 90% of defenders, they're not even going to know that ball's tipped. His eyes are on the ball. He locates it, finds it, picks it off. Huge play. Very similar play. This is another interception. You'll notice here, this is Dexter. He's behind a double team back here. He's getting pushed back a little bit by this double team, but he still somehow manages to get his eyes on the quarterback here. He's watching. He sees the ball get tipped. Goes for it, makes a play. Look at him. Other guys are closer. There's an offensive lineman that the ball's just going right by. He just whoop. Look at that pick. Awareness. Beautiful. Heads up. Smart. Athletic. Powerful. One of the strongest anchors I've ever seen against the run. And he's the second most athletic defensive lineman in the entire class. He has the size, the speed. He has everything you look for in a defensive tackle. Now that we've looked at the tape and been over the all-22 breakdown, let's get into his grades. When it comes to measurables, he has almost everything you want. He's got the size, the frame, nice arm length. I give him a 9.5. Athleticism, again, off the charts. Freak athlete, squatting nearly 700 pounds, benching 400 pounds, running a 4.840 at 300 plus pounds. His athleticism is purely off the charts. I give him a 9.8. In run defense, this is his strength. Right now, he's going to immediately upgrade our run defense from day one. You can't block him one-on-one in the run game. You have to double team him, and he's still a threat to make plays even through the double team. I give him a 9.3. As a pass rusher, this is where he's just not quite there yet. His bull rush is elite. He can bull rush any center in the league probably right now, but he needs to get better at counter moves and developing his pass rush arsenal overall. I give him a 7.1 as a pass rusher, but he has a sky-high ceiling. His technique is really good at times, but he does occasionally play with his pad level too high. His hand placement can be off a little bit at times, but he understands leverage so well, and he's so powerful that he gets away with it. Overall, his technique is pretty good, but it's not great. It's a 7.7. He can get even better if he cleans up his technique, and I believe he will with good coaching. Overall, I have Gervon Dexter tied for the second best prospect that Ryan Poles has drafted, tying him with Jaquan Brisker, giving him a 9.5 rating out of 10. The only player he's drafted that's better, in my opinion, so far is Darnell Wright. Gervon Dexter has the skills to be an impact player in the NFL right away. He should step in and be a 3-down starter very early in his career, possibly from day one. He's ready for the physicality of the league, and he even has so much more upside. He should be a starter from day one. This guy's a quarterback's nightmare. That's what Gervon Dexter has the potential to be. It's not only me that believes that. Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, Florida's D-line coach, and Bruce Feldman, just to name a few, have also said the same thing. Gervon says he talked to John Randall this offseason about improving his pass rush moves and took some notes from him, and he also spends a lot of time studying Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs as well. He shares a lot of similarities as far as size, length, power, and athleticism with Chris Jones. Ryan Poles was in Kansas City when they drafted Chris Jones, so there's a little bit of a connection in there. In fact, he is my comparison for Gervon. Let's go to the RAS comp. Look at the size. They have identical frames, both coming in at just under 6'6", both weighing in at exactly 310 pounds. They have very similar athletic profiles and had similar production in college. The scouting reports from both guys read very similarly. Chris Jones lived up to his expectation and became one of the better interior defenders in the league. Gervon Dexter has similar upside, but he just needs to work hard on reaching that ceiling. He's actually a lot more athletic than Chris Jones, running a faster 40 time, better 10 and 20 yard splits, a much higher vertical jump, and he was quicker in the shuttle and the 3-cone drill. Dexter might not be as good as Jalen Carter right now, but he has the potential to be even better in the NFL. I think he comps very favorably with Chris Jones. He's good enough against the run to be a day one starter in Chicago. Whether it's at 3-tech or 5-tech/nose is still unknown. I think he will play both spots, but eventually will settle in at the 5-tech or nose tackle position next to a combination of Justin Jones and Zach Pickens at 3-tech. I think having Dexter and Billings on the line at the same time would be awesome early in the season, especially against the run. So I could see Gervon winning the starting 3-tech job as well and pairing opposite Billings. However, that's a bit less likely since Justin Jones is returning as a starter and Billings is just on a 1-year deal. He should have an easier time beating out Billings, but personally, my preferred starters for early in this year would be Gervon Dexter at 3-tech with Andrew Billings playing in the nose, and then you can move Gervon over to the nose and sprinkle in Zach Pickens and Justin Jones. I think Gervon ends up being a day one starter at one of the interior positions on this defensive line. That will be decided at training camp. I still have a lot of bonus content left in this video. We are not done yet.
A little nugget on Gervon Dexter out of Florida and Zach Pickens of South Carolina.
Yeah, what stands out with Gervon is just it's the athlete and the traits that he has to develop to be a top-end interior player. Really light on his feet, former basketball player, who also has that density to him on contact, can shed blockers off of his body, and find the ball with good quickness and feet. So all of those pieces came together, and I think even with his tape and what he was asked to do in that scheme down there, I think it masked some of the high-end penetrating and pass rush that he actually has in his body. I think we'll be able to bring that out even more here.
What's up, guys? Swift here. I brought my man Vil on for a little bonus content and some added Gervon Dexter talk. Vil, say what's up to the people. Tell them where they can find you at, and then I got a couple questions for you.
What's good, family? Over there at Swift Sports Network. My name is Vil. You can find me at 3 Point Stands Pod on Twitter and 3 Point Stands Pod on YouTube. Appreciate you having me.
My man. So we're talking about Gervon Dexter today. People just got done watching the All-22 footage when they're watching this. My first question for you is, how do you respond to people who say he's lazy? Because I've heard that on Twitter and stuff. I know you got an answer for him.
Yeah, man, y'all wild for that. I don't really understand that. I did a little bit of research into my man's Gervon Dexter, and while the same things are being said about Jalen Carter, being lazy and not loving football, I found out a lot about Gervon Dexter in regards to loving football as well as why he's considered lazy, in my opinion. Since the Bears drafted Gervon Dexter with the 53rd pick, all we've heard is that he's lazy and he takes plays off. Come to find out, Dexter led all SEC defensive tackles in snaps. It's kind of hard being lazy and doing that. A better description is he was motherfucking tired.
My man.
They had limited depth and talent on the 22 Florida Gators D-line. I mean, he was a full-time starter leading the SEC defensive tackles and snaps while Jalen Carter rotated and played a stacked D-line.
Man, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jalen Carter, a lot of those other big defensive lineman prospects that went in the first round, they were on stacked defensive lines where they rotated in with guys who were first-round picks last year, guys who are going to be first-round picks next year, other guys who went high in this draft. So that's huge. In Florida, Gervon Dexter was doing it all by himself, and that kind of brings me into my next question as well, because the other knock on Gervon Dexter that you hear on him out there, or what about the people who say he didn't get enough sacks? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I get it. We had a horrible pass rush last year, and obviously passing on Carter, which everybody says is the next Aaron Donald and all this stuff. We want the pass rush production. We want the numbers to pop out. We want to be excited about those things. However, Carter wasn't as productive in the sack department as people think he is. It's kind of comparable, if you ask me. While Carter is seen as the more polished and talented player, Dexter is more productive overall, in my opinion. Carter had 83 tackles, 18 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, I believe, in his career. Dexter, however, had 125 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions. Again, played the most snaps in the SEC at his position while also being asked to read and react and not attack off the snap. Once he's able to just focus and attack and go upfield, he's going to be a monster. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school. He had 18 sacks, if I'm not mistaken, his senior year for college. He was recruited highly or rated highly over Jalen Carter. So there's so much potential.
Yep.
Exactly. So there's so much potential still left to get up out of him. And once he's able to get into our system, Poles has talked about it, Dexter has talked about it. His Florida D-line coach came on, I believe CHGO, and talked about with him reading and reacting, it kind of slows him down. They don't teach it or to be slow off the ball per se, but they teach him to mirror the guard. And me and Swift discussed it earlier, and he's watched film where he's able to latch on to the guard and kind of just hold him, look into the backfield and kind of read a misdirection play, a play action play, a bootleg on the quarterback, and then kind of dishelve or dispose of the guard or whoever is blocking him, and then attack. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to get off the line when you're kind of trying to see what the guard is going to do, see what the quarterback is going to do. And obviously he can improve in that aspect, and he's not going to come into the NFL and the coaches don't actually coach him on that. They're not going to just let him continuously be slow off the ball. But I believe we'll see a bunch of a difference. Me and Swift watching film at different times, we're able to see that in his 20 and 21 film, he gets off the ball pretty fast when he's able to attack. But in 22, with him being asked to read and react, as well as the amount of snaps of responsibility that he had because of the lack of talent around him or side to side, then, you know, you're exhausted. You're not able to do what you did in 20 and 21 and just go out there and attack, which I feel like kind of slowed down his production. And not only that, it kind of cratered his rise. Like he was taking off in that 21 season.
You see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen his production in high school. You mentioned it, over 100 tackles, 18 sacks. I mean, the dude was a monster. He's, for an interior defensive lineman, you don't see that kind of production. Rated higher than Jalen Carter. Outproduced Jalen Carter pretty much throughout his career in the same SEC on a bad team, on a worse defensive line. The sky's the limit for him, man. You nailed it on the head with almost all those points. Vil, I love it, brother. Any final words for the people?
Bear down, the Bears. We got one. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. I guess y'all just happy about names and logos on the side of the helmet. Back-to-back champions. I get it. Jalen Carter. And I wish him well, and I believe he's going to be successful. But I believe Gervon, especially the good guy he is, real quick, just wanted to shout him out. Right before the draft, he went and got baptized, himself, and I believe his child. So he's a father. He's a good dude. He's excited about being in Chicago. And I think that our fans, you know, being so down on the defensive line last year, are just ready to just pick at anything. And I think we got a dog, man. And I think we need to respect it before he takes off, because I don't want to see no bandwagoners. You know, I know Swift feels it too. Like, we don't want to see no bandwagoners next year or the year after when he's really flourishing. Like, oh yeah, we knew it all the time. Nah, we knew.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, this guy, I believe it too. He's a dog. We're gonna love him. He could play anywhere on the defensive line and be a monster. I think he's gonna be a fan favorite in Chicago. In a couple of years, you're gonna see tons of Dexter jerseys all over the place. I love it, Vil. Always appreciate having you on. Guys, give him a follow on Twitter. Check him out at YouTube. Love this man, Vil. Always an honor, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
What you'll notice, it's going to help everybody else out. So even if he doesn't make the play, he's going to eat up blockers. It's just the natural football playing ability, the ability to play square, and the power to fight through blocks and make plays behind the line of scrimmage.
I got a bonus story segment for those of you who are still watching. This is really part of Gervon's story, but I withheld it till the end because only the real ones watch this long. According to data from even my DJ Moore and Darnell Wright All 22 breakdowns, only 15% of the people that click on the video watch this long. I don't know how it tracks it and if it counts if people move around, but if you're still watching, drop a bear down Swift in the comments. You guys are the real MVPs of this network. So I wanted to touch a bit more on Gervon's story and his motivations going forward into the NFL. Over the course of his 3 years at Florida, Dexter's decision to stay home allowed him to spend more time around his father. Remember, it was Gervon's father who pushed him to switch back to football during high school from basketball. His father would be so proud of him today. That I can say for sure. He's living his dream and got drafted into the NFL. On top of that, he became a father himself just last year, and I believe he will go on to do big things in the NFL. Unfortunately, his father will be watching from above. I know firsthand how losing someone close to you can really motivate you. I'm not going to get into Gervon's personal details, but he has plenty of motivation to prove all the doubters wrong. How can you not root for this dude? I struggle to find much at all to not love about this pick, honestly. He's the best defensive tackle we've drafted since Tommy Harris. He grades out much higher than Eddie Goldman or Bilal Nichols did. He should immediately upgrade our run defense and has the potential to punish quarterbacks. Gervon will put our coaching staff to the test, and we will see what they can get out of him. He has everything you want from a defensive line prospect. I cannot wait to watch his career unfold in Chicago. This video took a ton of work. Please hit the like button for me. Make sure you are a subscriber, as I'm doing full breakdowns like this on every single one of Ryan Poles' draft picks. All 10 are in the works. I have more negatives on some of these other guys, but it's hard to find anything not to like about Gervon Dexter. I still have a little bit more bonus content coming up at the end here, so don't go away yet, but turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. And until next time, bear down.
It's been great being here for sure.
Gervon, in Florida, what were your responsibilities in the deep? How is that different from what you're going to be asked to do here with the Bears?
Yeah, so my responsibility at Florida my junior year was more of just like two-gapping and kind of reacting. So like basically if the guard steps down, you step down with him. If you step out, you step out with him. And then here is more of just go, get vertical, penetrate, and reset the line of scrimmage. So.
One of the nights watching your film, one of the nights has been having this slow get off. Is that a result of what you're talking about, or is that something that you think you do need to improve here?
Of course, I know I need to improve, but I think it was a bit of just reacting. I think if you go back and watch my sophomore film and my freshman film, when it was I was able to just get down and penetrate, I think you'll see a big difference.
We'll put your
I'm
name.
ready.
You're gonna be Chicago Bear, all right?
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, here's Coach
Let's do
Eberflus.
it. I'm ready. I'm ready, man.
Hey,
Let's do
Gervon.
With, oh, what's the first step like? Ball, and you get a pole key, now you can scrape over the top and do your job as a defensive lineman. So I think people get way too obsessed with, oh, what's the first step like? If he's coached to not really have a first step, that's not his fault. Athletically, he is very explosive. Athletically, he could have a good first step if that's what he's coached to do. So I think people, and I just want people to watch like one defensive line clinic. That's all. Like just watch one clinic and they'll understand that like coaching matters and scheme matters and techniques matter. I'm not worried about it at all. That being said, when you watch Dexter on tape, there's a defensive line technique called lock, peek, shed. And there was a particular rep against Georgia and their center where, he locks out on the Georgia center, peeks, gets the running back to kind of go the other way, sheds him, like literally tosses this grown man to the side and gets the tackle at the line of scrimmage. He does that all the time. He's like the best, other than, probably Jalen Carter and Mozzie Smith. He's the best guy in this class at doing that lock, peek, shed, of just completely dominating the offensive lineman in front of him, locking out and shedding him. And he's going to be a phenomenal run stopper just on that ability alone. First step be damned. As a pass rusher, he's still underdeveloped for sure. But athletically, I think he could get there.
I gave it such a low grade is because the Bears were sitting there at 9. They had an opportunity to take Jalen Carter. You said, well, maybe the offensive tackle won't be there. Would you rather have Gervon Dexter and Darnell Wright, who they got in the first round, or maybe Jalen Carter and Tyler Steen? And that's my concern about how I graded this.
What? 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 Bro!
I can't do the show with you. No, I'm just playing.
My bad. I forgot where I was going. I didn't
Yeah,
have
me
the
too. I was
questions
going-
up. I
I
didn't
like
have
that.
the
I was
questions.
supposed-
Don't worry, I'll cut this out.
Swifty in the house.